Hello, welcome to the FanDuel Punch Out. Of course, I'm Big Italy 42, and he's Christopher Ruckus at Space Jam 23 DFS, and we're talking about tonight's latest lock time I've ever seen for a main slate. 10:05 p.m. tonight for these games, and only 5 games on the slate. There's a few early games. There's an 8 o'clock game. You can make custom contests, things like that for the 8 o'clock game as well, but I don't really see the point in adding one. Plus, you buy yourself an extra 2 hours before lock time. With that being said, there's one pitching option that's by far your best option. He's only a minus 118 favorite, but a 7-run total is the lowest on the night, or second lowest on the night. And it's Corey Kluber. Got him against Seattle today. Obviously, Seattle really not swinging the bats at all. Until Nelson Cruz home run yesterday, they were shut out through 8 innings. And now you got Corey Kluber and his 29.5% strikeout rates. Ground ball rate almost 50%. And, I mean, he's just been dominant against righties, pretty good against lefties as well. And, I mean, the Mariners just cannot hit the ball right now, so he's got to be your top option. I don't even think it's close.
Yeah, he's only 900 more than A.J. Burnett, your number 2 option against the Padres and Petco. Yeah, I mean, it's not close. Corey Kluber, hands clearly above everyone else. And you know what? If you don't play Kluber, you're probably going to lose tonight because you're probably going to be chasing about 6, 7 points. And you got, James Paxton opposite him. Cleveland got a hot bat yesterday. They can continue that trend today. So, where is that game? Is that game in Seattle or in Cleveland? It's in Seattle, right?
Yes, in Seattle. So
okay,
nice pitcher's park for him there too.
Yeah, I mean, Kluber's your clear number 1. Burnett, I would rank it. Kluber at like 1 to 10 ranking. I'd put him as the number 1. Then I'd put A.J. Burnett at about 6. Then I'd put Ian Kennedy at about 10 to show you the gap between everyone. And that's it. I'm not even going to talk about anybody else because there's no one else worth playing.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people will be on Shelby Miller. I don't think he has a ton of upside unless he's pitching really, really deep into games, which he has been. But this guy hasn't faced a good offense since April 19th against Toronto. So, I mean, you look at that. Cincinnati, Philadelphia, Miami, Milwaukee, all bottom feeders. So I'm not chasing a big score with him for just less than $1,000 below Corey Kluber against a Giants team that's actually hitting the ball. No thanks for me.
Yeah, agreed.
All right, as we move on here to catcher, I like Brian McCann, of course. He's $3,100. Kind of hard not to like him against Kendall Graveman, who did pitch pretty well in his first start this season. He wasn't awful. He went 6 innings, 6 Ks, and got the win. But at the same time, I mean, he's just not that good of a pitcher. He was fortunate to get a bad Tampa Bay offense. Now he gets the Yankees. Yes, it is in Oakland, so you get a huge downshift or downgrade in park factor for them. But I mean, not a lot of options here at catcher. So for me, it's going to be McCann or Buster Posey.
Yeah, I mean, I think you'll see some people that are pivoting to like Derek Norris or Francisco Cervelli type, and that's pretty much it. I mean, if you want to go Min Sal, you're going to want to go Josh Fegley. I think that's how you pronounce his last name.
Yep.
And I mean, against CeCe's hasn't been that good. I'm from New York. I watch him pitch, pretty much all the time.
I'm sorry.
He's not good. What?
I'm sorry you have to watch that.
Yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough. But yeah, I mean, Posey, McCann, and then probably you'll see some Derek Norris, Francisco Cervelli mixed in by people that need to save salary. But yeah, I think that's your only 2 clear options. I think McCann will probably be upwards of 60 to 70% owned in cash, just because you need to get those savings if you're playing for Kluber.
Yeah, and I think if you want to throw in a couple guys, you could also throw in one of the Indians guys, Yan Gomes or Roberto Perez. Perez has been getting on base a lot and doing pretty well recently, so I don't mind him. Gomes, only a few games removed from injury. He hasn't done much, but he's got big-time power and upside, though. First base, of course, if you want to pay up, you got Miguel Cabrera. We know his day-night splits this year are pretty extreme, but I'm not buying too much into that. And he gets a fine matchup against C.J. Wilson, who I'm not afraid of at all. But I also like guys like Mark Teixeira, Carlos Santana, switch hitter, of course, against James Paxton. Paxton's a decent pitcher. He's a guy who's efficient, but like you said, the Indians got hot yesterday, and I don't expect them to keep it going today. I mean, that lineup's really getting it going. Even all the smaller, the roll hitters, guys like Lonnie Chisenhall starting to hit the ball, Nick Swisher. So I'm going to be getting myself one of these big bats, and if not one of those guys, probably Freddie Freeman down at $3,300 in San Francisco.
I feel like this is a one-man podcast just because the slate is so small and it's so like straight-laced that you know who you're playing. It's a streamlined slate.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, Carlos Santana, Freddie Freeman. Did you say Uncle Al or no?
I did not say Uncle Al. Not yet.
Uncle Al, 2.8K against Buck Farmer.
Best name in baseball.
Worst pitcher in baseball. 2.8K. I mean, that's a fair price tag if you're looking to pay down. You know, that 500 difference between Freddie Freeman and Pujols, I think, is pretty significant when you've got Kluber on the mound. But Kluber, honestly, on this short slate should be about 12K, realistically.
Yep.
I think they should do pricing according to the slate. And he's just significantly better, and that's where I would play Pujols. But I haven't constructed a lineup yet to know, that value difference.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you need a bare minimum punt, Nick Swisher, if he's in the lineup, you assume he should get the start over Brandon Moss today because they are facing a lefty. He's minimum salary. Nice tournament option for you there. Second base here, Jason Kipnis, of course, your most expensive option. The guy's crushing lefties and righties right now, so if you can afford him, get him in your lineups. I mean, a double and a triple yesterday, homer the day before, then a double, a double, a double. I mean, the guy's just absolutely crushing the ball. He's 4.8K, he's expensive, but like I mentioned, Corey Kluber's not that expensive. You can easily get some big bats in there with him. So I think that's a great way to go. And I'll throw out one more and then let you take over. Ben Zobrist crushes lefties. 3.1K.
That's a great price tag for Zobi. I love Ben Zobrist, always. I played him so freaking much last year. He's like one of my favorite players. I don't know why. I just like him. And then also, who else do I love against Ian Kennedy? I mean, we said it. Your options are limited. So while these aren't great plays, they're great plays today. And that's Neil Luke Skywalker. 2.8K against Kennedy. Not much to say. I mean, he's had good success, believe it or not, against Kennedy and almost 20 at-bats in his career. So that's pretty much it. 2.8K for Kennedy if you're looking to pay down a little bit.
Yeah, I'm the same way. There's really nothing cheap that I have any interest in playing tonight. And I can't wait to see how many people play Robinson Cano. Not only because he's awful, but he's going against the best pitcher on the slate. That's a certain percentage of people you don't have to worry about in tournaments because Robinson Cano is just god-awful right now. Cannot do it. As we move to third base, Alex Rodriguez still crushing the ball at the ripe old age of 80, whatever he is now. $3,300. Gotta like him. Chase Headley, same team, $2,800. Those are got to be my top two options. Certainly not paying for Kyle Seager. I mean, where else are you looking here at third base?
A-Rod. Maybe like Brett Lowry for min salary if you need him, or like David Freese for 2.7K. But I mean, that's really it. This slate is so straightforward. I love it. You play your best lineup and you let other people make mistakes.
Yep. Tournament option, once again, a Cleveland Indian bat, Lonnie Chisenhall, homered yesterday, 2.2K. He does get a lefty-lefty matchup, but hasn't hit lefties particularly well this season, but was pretty good against them last year, so keep him in mind for your tournaments. Shortstop, Dixon Machado is your most expensive option. Not sure why. He has 7 Major League at-bats, but you're obviously not paying for him, even if he is in the lineup. I'm probably looking at Jung Ho Kang at $3,000 here against Ian Kennedy. He's got power, he's got speed. We know Kennedy has trouble with keeping the ball in the ballpark. It is Petco, so that helps. But Kang with that speed, he hit one in the gap, get a double, triple out of it. And then I'll throw out Brandon Crawford. Like I said, I'm not a huge believer in Shelby Miller, and I do think that the Giants will be able to put up some runs. You just hate the fact that he's 2.9K and batting 6th or 7th.
Yeah, I mean, the only other one, Jung Ho Kang, I think is your clear number 1 option. I think your clear number 2 option is actually Eric Ibar.
Okay.
Against Buck Farmer, 2.7K, batting leadoff likely. I mean, there's only really one. I mean, we're not going to say bad pitcher, but I mean, Kennedy's, we typically full slate aren't picking on him. Kluber, obviously. Shelby Miller, full slate, likely not picking on him. CC this year. CJ Wilson, probably not picking on him. And James Paxton, I mean, Iffy and Chris Heston has shown some stuff this year.
Yep.
I mean, there's just not a lot to pick on. So, yeah, I mean, I'm probably Eric Ibar, Jung Ho Kang, and on to the next.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I mean, you could throw out Andrelton Simmons, who's min salary. Excuse me. But his lineup spot hasn't been great either, so I don't love that. Jose Ramirez, if he's batting near the top of the order, which I doubt, but if he is at 2.7, he's a nice tournament option.
Yeah.
Looking at the outfield, we'll give you the obvious options. Of course, Mike Trout, $5,000. He gets Buck Farmer. If you can pay for him, get him. If not, Andrew McCutchen against Ian Kennedy, or Michael Brantley in a lefty-lefty against James Paxton. I'll probably be going Brantley out of those guys if I can't afford Trout, just because he's just so locked in right now. He got pulled last night, or would have had an even bigger game. But, I mean, he's just incredible right now. The guy always puts the ball in play, doesn't strike out. You got to love that about Michael Brantley.
Yeah, I mean, nothing. Easily love Michael Brantley tonight. I think your top option, like you said, I don't think it's close, Mike Trout. I also think that the usual suspect for us, Brett Gardner, is in play tonight.
Yep.
I think Gregory Polanco at 2.8K is in play tonight. I think Rajay Davis at 3.1K against Lefty Wilson, probably leading off, is in play tonight. Also, someone off the radar hasn't been anyone's been talking about. Josh Reddick at 3.5K gives you a little bit of upside, but for cheaper. And then finally, Cole Calhoun against Buck Farmer. Not much else to say about it.
Yeah, I like that call. And then, of course, as you're looking cheaper, you got Ryan Rayburn, of course, against the lefty. Got to consider him. Once again, really cheap. You got guys like Michael Bourne down there. I'm not really interested in playing him. Seth Smith, 2.3K. Like I mentioned, Rayburn, he's 2.4. That's going to be it for me. I don't see any other reason to force any of these cheap bats into your lineup tonight. Like you mentioned, you see the guys that you want. It's pretty easy to get those guys. Don't overthink this slate. It's only 5 games. Get the guys that you want. Get the guys in good spots, and then cash in. It's going to be a pretty simple night, it seems like.
You got it.
All right, find us on Twitter at DF Cafe. Subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. And find all of our content for tonight's slate at dailyfantasycafe.com.